What is the most memorable NSFW thing that happened in high school? A small group of students at my high school was convinced aliens were observing us because a certain cornfield near the football field would have crop circles every year. It was flattened out patches from where kids would sneak off to have sex during football games. As a kid raised on a farm, why would you go fuck into the cornfield? Corn leaves are quite sharp and can cut you easily, not to mention spiders and other bugs that live there. Because they didn't want to get caught and in the corn, nobody can hear you scream. Computer teacher opened whitehouse.com on the projector during a follow-along class. This was in the late 90s when the site was porn-based. I mean, the regular White House was pretty porn-based in the 90s too. I'm a childhood expat who went back to rural Illinois at the age of 14. I witnessed some shenanigans there. One time, we were all sitting around a bonfire, and a girl in the group decided to put on a show with a cigarette. She masturbated with a cigarette in front of everyone. She then took it one step further, she used an empty whiskey bottle to masturbate in front of us. None of us knew what to say or do in response to that, so we just let her do her thing. I think we all just felt bad for her. That was the part that was most memorable for me. I'm trying to imagine masturbation with a cigarette and it just ain't adding up. She pretended a cigarette was a small penis. It was as awkward as you made me feel having to elaborate on that one. Two kids got caught in the wrestling room. They were totally wrestling. Naked. Covered in molasses of all things. A girl got caught sucking dick in the theater room. Twice. You didn't learn your lesson the first time, did you? How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? English teacher got pregnant by my high school quarterback, who was also the police chief's son for my town. I've never seen Riverdale, but I imagine this is what happens on Riverdale, but with Cole Sprouse being moody in the background. Well, they did have a high school jock hook up with a teacher and she was murdered. So yeah, basically Riverdale. During a school dance, the one girl with notoriously large breasts, like unreasonably so, was dancing to Cotton Eye Joe, and her shirt finally gave up and her ginormous breasts popped out. I was one of the many guys that witnessed it. It was glorious. It's all thanks to Cotton Eye Joe. I saw titties a long time ago. They were so big with no room to grow. Thank God for that shirt and Cotton Eye Joe. A girl 13 to 15, sent a Snapchat out to several people of her naked with only emojis covering her. We were on a class trip and they locked us all in our rooms until the staff and police sorted it out. Edit. So to add a bit more to the story and clear a few things up. The cops determined it wasn't CP, so she did not get arrested for producing and distribute CP. I can't remember what happened after that to her, however I believe the teachers either called her parents up and they got her, or they gave her a good talking to, got all the documentation in order and let her enjoy the rest of the trip. I do think it was a good call on them in case there was a way someone got the emojis off the pic and it got out. They would at least have documentation on the matter for the police. Edit 2, I was 18 at the time, so this could have ended bad for me. Edit 3, great, my highest upvoted comment is on this SHT. Find the narc. God bless, I wasn't. I was 18, she wasn't. We were on a field trip to an amusement park for marching band. A bus from an all-boys Catholic middle school pulled up beside ours. My friend dared me to flash my boobs and I wasn't one to back down from a dare. So I waited until most of the boys were looking away. Only one nerdy little boy was looking in our direction, so I did it. His mouth dropped wide open with surprise as he quickly motioned for the other boys to come have a look. They moved so quickly from one side of the bus to the other that I actually thought it might tip over. Seriously, the whole bus rocked to one side, but they were too late. TLDR, flashed a nerdy middle schooler and almost tipped over a school bus. God was on his side that day. I'm imagining the young kid at the end of Animal House, sitting on his bed looking at a Playboy centerfold when bam! A hot girl in a bunny costume flies through his window and bounces off his bed. Thank you God. A few come to mind. 1. Lots of the sporty couples often hooked up in the wrestling rooms after school, practice. Like even after staff found out and started making sure everything was locked, they still managed to get in. There was a sort of unwritten rule to leave one of the room's doors the exited outside propped open slightly so that couples could sneak in. Happened all 4 years and honestly most likely still happens. 2. The theater, so many kids hooked up in the theater. Like, holy shit. The most memorable one for that would be a couple was going at it in the catwalks while a play was happening. 3. I was a peer ed/sex ed student. The idea being that if students taught students about sex education they would be more receptive of it. Fun times and stories for another day, but one of my responsibilities was talking with or helping students with questions. The most memorable one was a young freshman, shy, stopped me in the hallway and asked me to help her with a problem. She had been exploring her body with an object and managed to get it stuck. I asked her what the object was. It was an iPod Nano. At that point I was out of my depth and went to go ask another female member to help her out. As someone who played sports in high school, I should have done theater or band. On the catwalk, skeet, skeet, skeet all over the audience. A freshman kid at our high school has been collecting pictures of naked assholes from students. So far he has 37. He got them from other people or getting them himself. The only reason I found out was because the dude was sitting at a table I was at and had placed his phone flat on the table. He then proceeded to open up his private pictures in Snap. Edit, he now has 38. What the fuck is with collecting arsehole pictures? This isn't the first time I've heard of this. Hobby. Senior year. Biology ed 2. The teacher is kinda chaotic and isn't very structured, late a lot. It's his first class of the day, sorta lets us do our work at our pace. So he was late one morning and we were all just sitting and chatting waiting for him. We got in the topic of piercings and one girl said she recently got one of her nipples pierced. We were confused why she only did one and then she showed us. In class, at her desk she just lifted her shirt and bra to show us her single pierced nipple. It took me a second to realize what just happened, then me and my buddy high-fived or something. The only proper response to a girl saying I have a pierced nipple is I don't believe you. Most girls that tell you they have their nipples pierced are doing so with the intent of showing it off. 2 of our married gym teachers got caught having sex in the weight room after school. 1 male and 1 female teacher. They weren't married to each other. Yeah, 2 employees were caught doing that in the company gym where I used to work. One was named Steele, until she divorced not long after, for some reason, and the joke going around was we should go to the gym and pump Steele. A girl got so drunk at homecoming that she pooped her pants and had to be sent home. Greater than at homecoming, had to be sent home so drunk she didn't know if she was coming or going. Senior prank gone wrong. Every once in a while the school Olympic-sized pool needed to be chlorine-killed for cleanliness and it was unusable for a few hours until the chlorine adequately dispersed. This is important. Senior prank time rolls around and a bunch of the seniors decide to pick up truckloads of dry ice to dump in the pool to mist up the school. Well, these geniuses accidentally timed it with chlorination schedule of the pool and blanketed the whole school with chlorine gas. It was shut down for a week. Literally NSFW. This is by far the funniest one here. A couple got caught 69ing outside the science block. That was interesting. Edit, I almost completely forgot. The girl ended up going to prison 5 years later for domestic abuse. Here's the article, https://www.google.com/amp/s/www.mirror.co.uk/news UK news/evil girlfriend Jordan Worth's Facebook 140241447.amp. According to Wikipedia, her victim is now a football coach. I am so glad you came back with that edit. I appreciated that update. Some guy was caught masturbating in the girls' bathroom. Imagine our surprise when another was caught soon after. After that, they had a teacher stand outside the bathroom during lunch and had it locked during class so they'd need to go the staff room instead. Felt bad for the girls. The school, your attention please. We have caught the person masturbating in the girls' restroom. That one person who only half listens in class hears, please. Masturbate in the girls' restroom. Oh what? Okay, if you say so. Deleted. Ironic that this was the stats teacher. What are the chances a student will see this? I'm probably good. Edit, the story was about a stats professor who posted his own gay porn online and students found it and posted it everywhere. 2 sophomores got suspended for recording themselves having sex in the distance learning classroom. Some online classes required video cameras for lectures. They used that and recorded a sex tape. Distance learning sounds like a regular class, but the board is really far away. Hot classmate of mine jumped on my back the first day of theater practice, saying "You're mine now," eventually led to her giving me head between scenes on multiple occasions. Oh, theater kids. No matter where you go, they never really change. As a high school carpentry student that built many theater sets, I can give you the advice of my shop teacher: they're gonna F on these things after hours, make 'em strong enough. Edit, kinda NSFW moment. I was moving heavy prefab platforms for a multi-level stage and bolting them into place before the theater kids came in for their practice. They were doing a play that had a lot of dance and had a volunteer dance instructor from the local community college who was about 19 and wearing yoga pants and a skin-tight top. She was extremely flexible and doing her warm-ups on center stage, which was basically contortionist level stretching type stuff, while I was trying to move, align, and bolt heavy wooden platforms. It was fucking distracting. Female volleyball coach of men's volleyball. She let us have an end-of-season party at her place. One of the guys on the team spent the night there and banged her. Guarantee that was her plan to get you guys there all along. You joke, but it probably was. What responsible teacher invites students to their own home? With no warning at all, a girl in my class threw up a stomach full of blood all over her desk and books. The teacher went pale and stared at her. She just softly said sorry. The teacher just pointed to the door and just said go to the nurse. Then pointed to the girl next to her and said you go with her. I don't remember what was wrong with her, but she ended up missing about 2 months of school after that. She recovered and is fine now. I love that throwing up blood gets the same reaction as a nosebleed. A kid broke his leg in PE once and was given an ice pack and nothing else while waiting for an ambulance or something to arrive. 2002, teacher was unzipped and giving a lecture. Valedictorian had to tell him that his balls were showing. Bumblebee tuna. A girl was doing a cartwheel while in a skirt and her pussy was in full view. No panties? Maybe it was casual Fridays. My math teacher told us if we all got A's and B's on our test, he'd dye his hair green and rollerblade down the hallway. We all passed, and sure enough, he showed up to school with green hair the following week. During class transitions he was out rollerblading down the hall, when he thought it would be funny to mess with the jokes to student. So he grabbed him and tried to push him in the girls' bathroom as a joke, and another student trying to help ran up behind them and shut the door. The tip of my teacher's pinky finger was near the hinges, and it was sliced off. Blood was everywhere and the tip of his finger was just lying there in the floor. To make matters worse, they sent the severed finger to the wrong hospital. But he had good spirits when he came back, even naming the finger Quasimodo. Edit, wording. Wait, whose finger got cut? The students saw the teachers should have clarified. During psychology class, this girl had her phone between her skirts and I guess every time she got a text or something, it would vibrate and she would kinda squirm. It was interesting to watch since I was across from her. How many times did you text her? He was imagining himself between her legs, just texting BRB 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 BRB. This is a different kind of NSFW, probably, but once a freshman shat all over a bathroom stall and wrote some other kid's name on the wall to try and frame him, I guess. Well, that kid wasn't even present that day, so the culprit was caught pretty quickly and had to transfer out. The dean had sat all the boys in the school, freshmen and sophomores together and then juniors and seniors together, in our conference room and showed them the stall to try and scare a confession out of them. I guess it worked. I only know this because my husband, BF at the time, was in the conference room and almost got in trouble for this mess because he thought it was hilarious and couldn't stop laughing at the dean's poop presentation. He still, to this day, doesn't know what the poor man expected. To just show a bunch of teenage boys a poopy slideshow. The dean wasn't up for the smell my finger test. Pretty open and shut case if you ask me. We were reciting our own poetry for our 11th grade English class. Most of it was just floofy bullshit. However, a jock in class got up and began reciting his poem. It started off slow, but it became clearer and clearer that he was talking about how he would go back in time and deflower our English teacher. He kept glancing back and forth between the teacher and the paper in his hands, ignoring the class entirely. Every face in the room was bright red. The teacher was a deep red, and was crying with uncomfortable laughter. I will never forget the final line, something like, "Until I flood your eager, quivering crevices with my genetic riches." The dude was not that bright, so I am pretty sure the only thing he spent the night with was a thesaurus. Edit, my first gold ever. Thanks, kind stranger. Referring to sperm as genetic riches is actually genius. Morrissey is jealous of that wordsmithery. Guy on the football team would bust into the locker room and demonstrate that he could tie his flaccid penis into a knot. He went on to play in the NFL. What was his name? Gronkowski. The social studies teacher's boobs fell out of her dress on stage in front of the whole school. How big were they? Did she have to resign after that? Username checks out.